This happened last year. When I was 15, me and my friend, who I'll call Kate, were messing around in our neighborhood one day. We were on the side of the road playing around with sparklers and other stuff like that. Suddenly, Kate said to turn around and look behind me, and I did. When I looked at the home behind us, I saw someone looking through the window. I couldn't really tell what he looked like, so I just ignored it and went back to playing with the sparklers. A few minutes later, Kate said to look again, which I did, but this time there was a woman with him at the window. They were just staring at us, and I began to feel uneasy, but again I turned around and ignored them. As the sun went down, I walked back to my house, which was across the street, and Kate went to hers, which was a few blocks away. A couple hours later, at around 10, my phone lit up as I was watching Orange is the New Black, so at first I ignored it. Then I got another alert, so I picked up my phone and looked at the screen. My two alerts were from Snapchat. Someone had just added me, and their username was something like Jaden, and they had sent me a picture. I waited until the episode was over to open it. It was just a black screen with a message saying, "Hey." I ignored that message. Around 6 to 7 minutes later, I got another Snapchat from the same guy, and this time it was a black screen saying, "Why didn't you answer?" Again, I ignored the snap and went back to Netflix. When my phone buzzed a third time, I didn't look at it. Throughout the episode, I got around 4 more alerts, which I ignored all of them. Then I fell asleep. When I woke up the next morning, I had 11 alerts. Most of them were black screens saying, "Why aren't you answering?" or "I know you're awake, answer me." But the last one was the one that freaked me out. It was a picture of my house, taken from across the street, with a caption, "Answer me now." I was so stupid, so I didn't screenshot the pictures, but I did block him. I didn't hear anything for a few days. But then I got another alert from someone that had added me. It was the same username as before, but only with a 1 after it. Then I got sent multiple snaps. I didn't open any of them because I was in class. 4 hours later, I checked my Snapchat, and all the pictures he sent me were pictures of me. Some were during lunch, some were when I was walking home from school. Again, I blocked the user and I didn't get any screenshots. Last night, I got a snap of my window, again taken from across the street and from the same user, but this time with a 2 after it. I told my dad and he freaked out and called the police. When they arrived, I told them everything, but they couldn't do anything since I didn't get any screenshots. I don't know what to do. I've deleted Snapchat, but he has found me on other social medias. I've blocked him on everything, and I'm thinking about deleting everything. This story happened in October of 2004. Back when I was still a third-year high school student, my friends and I stuck around the school late at night after our annual Halloween party. We had agreed to try out my friend's Ouija board. It wasn't the brightest idea, but we needed a thrill. We found a nice spot under a huge nara tree and proceeded with our half-assed ritual. There were 5 of us, 2 boys and 3 girls. We were all expecting some kind of paranormal contact. Rumors had it our school was haunted, but we've never really experienced anything firsthand. And it was Halloween, when all the spirits came out to play. We all wanted to get spooked, and we'd never seen a Ouija board before firsthand, so we were pretty excited. Our school was an old Spanish colonial house built in the 1800s, when the Spaniards still occupied the Philippines. We were in the section of the school that doesn't get used often, located beside a creepy old Jesuit house. People only go there when they needed to use the restroom, store equipment, or make out with their boyfriends or girlfriends. We sat down in the middle of an open space, with only an exposed bare bulb nearby illuminating the surroundings. We were all having a laugh, scaring each other with what-if scenarios. It was your typical dumb kids doing dumb things. My friend, who brought the Ouija board, proceeded to place it in the middle of our circle, If I remember correctly, it was a glow-in-the-dark version, which we found hilarious, but it gave us the ability to see what was written in the dark. Not knowing what to do, and going after what we've seen in the movies, we all proceeded to place our index finger on top of the planchette. We sat there, looking at each other, until one of us said, "What's next?" We didn't know if there was a proper way to start the ritual, plus the board didn't come with instructions, so we decided to just throw in a question. "Is anyone there?" I called out into the darkness. "If there are any spirits living here, please talk to us," one of the girls joined in. We clearly had no idea what we were doing, but still, nothing. Not even the slightest bit of wind. One of my friends jerked the planchette, and the girl who brought the Ouija board screamed, breaking the silence. We all laughed at how ridiculous it was. After a bit of joking around, we decided to give it another go. We all placed our index fingers on the planchette once more and asked, "If there's anyone there, we would like to make contact." "Don't break the circle," one of my friends jokingly said. "Shut up," I whispered. We were just about ready to give up when the wind started to pick up. The stillness broke, and the darkness around us seemed to move. Just a coincidence, we thought. "Okay, don't break the circle," I yelled out. "Is anyone there?" I was excited. It was like a scene from a movie, with dirt and dead leaves swirling around us. "Guys, I'm scared," my friend sitting beside me said. "My mom warned me about playing with forces we don't know. Did you die here? Were you killed during the war? Are you the headless priest that roams these halls? Do you know Jose Rizal? Are you a hottie?" My friend giggled. At this point, we were all throwing random stupid questions. Nothing. "This is bullshit. I don't want to do this anymore," my friend said, exasperated. We were all thinking the same thing. Just then, a group of dogs from these neighboring houses started barking at us. Through the chain link fence, these 6 dogs were growling and showing teeth. We all screamed, and without finishing the ritual, bolted right out of there. We didn't see each other until after Halloween break, and this is where the story gets creepy. One of the girls had told us about a weird experience she had the night after playing with the Ouija board. She had gotten home late after hanging out with her friends, and when she realized she forgot her keys to her house, she called her brother up, who was still sharing a room with her, and what he had said had crept the hell out of her. He swore she was already home. He claimed to have even seen her walk in a while ago, and that she looked really tired and saw her head straight to bed. Creepy, but no need to freak ourselves out, we all thought. Besides, her brother must have just been tired and seeing things. But then my other friend started telling us about an encounter she had the Halloween night. She was going up to her room when the lights started flickering. Your typical horror movie visuals. She shrugged it off due to faulty wiring. But then, she saw the door to her room open, and a dark figure stepped out and stood atop their staircase. She couldn't make out the entity's face, but she recounted that she couldn't move and felt utter dread as the figure stared down at her. "No way," my best friend who just joined the conversation said in disbelief. "Something happened to me as well." He recalled that he was sleeping one night when he woke up feeling really uncomfortable. He described his vision as having a TV-like static and a feeling of heaviness surrounding him. He looked around the room, and that's when he saw a bloody, charred face with piercing red eyes grinning at him through the window. I couldn't believe what I was hearing, because I had an almost run-in with death that night. After the ritual, I was sleeping in our sedan on the way home after fooling around with the Ouija board when I felt our car jerk. I woke up instantly, looking out the window, and found out we'd been hit by a huge oil tanker. I panicked and leaped out of the car. Luckily, my mom and I survived the crash. I still don't have an explanation why those things happened to us, but thank God nothing happened after that. I never played or got near a Ouija board ever again. Now this story takes place in the southern part of my state, where there's dense forest and a lot of red rock. I was working construction that summer to save enough money for college with my buddy named Jonah. Now, me and Jonah had planned to leave this Friday for our camping trip when the day of, he tells me that something came up with his girlfriend and he's not able to make it. Now, I let him know that that was alright, but that I would still head out there and check out the area, so that way next time we went out we would have some idea of what we were getting into. Work ends and I head home to pick up my bags and take a quick shower before I head out. I hop in the truck and start driving to the area, which is about an hour and a half away from where I live. Once I get there, there is no other cars in the parking lot, which is nice, and I hop out of the truck and start hiking up to the area. It gets very dense forest in that area, and once I find an open area, I pick that as my camping spot. I pitch my tent and get everything ready, and by the time I'm starting to cook, it is pitch black outside, so I have my headlamp and some lanterns out. I cook some food and drink a little bit, and once it hits 11:30 p.m., I realize it's time for bed and I hop into my tent. Now, one little thing you should know is that I always have a gun with me, especially when I go camping. I've never had to use it, but it's nice to know that it's there. So I have it under my pillow as I fall asleep. I am awakened at 2:30 with the urge to urinate, so I step out of my tent and realize how pretty the stars look out. I turn my headlamp off and look up to the stars as I'm doing my business. Once I get done, I turn my headlamp back on and start walking towards my tent. Now, behind my tent, there is a crooked tree, and I distinctly see the shape of a humanoid figure peeking its head out, and as I shine my light directly on them, it immediately pokes its head back in. I take off in a sprint back towards my tent and jump inside. I get into my sleeping bag, I grab my gun and I cock it, and I wait. As I'm waiting and waiting, I start to hear very distinct mumbling or murmuring, and it's loud to where I can hear it, but I can't hear what they're saying. I stay frozen in my tent as I realize that the voice is getting closer and closer. Once it sounds like they're right on top of me, my heart is pounding through my chest. The adrenaline is rushing through my veins, and I realize this could be bad. But then, just as it started, it stops, and I lay there in my tent, just waiting, anticipating for something to hop in and attack, but it never shows. After what seems like eternity, I finally get the courage to look at the time on my phone and realize that it is now 4 a.m. I get the feeling that the thing isn't going to come back, and I end up falling asleep somehow. I am awakened by the sun and the heat from the sun shining in my tent. I pack up my stuff and I just start hiking back down to my truck. Now, I've told this story to my friends. Some people say that I could have been hallucinating, maybe it was a dream, but I know what I saw, and I remember what I heard. I will never go camp in that forest again.